Hello and welcome to Phuket Insights. And today I'm really pleased to be joined by Boyd Jackson. We're going to get into his life here in Phuket, how he got here, and all the lessons to learn in the meantime. Well, hello, Boyd. Thanks for coming in and seeing me today.
Pleasure to be here, Martin.
Okay, so let's get into it. Can you give me the short version of who you are and what you do here?
Short version. It's always difficult. I've been here 3 years from Australia. Kind of semi-retired in Australia and decided I want to go to Thailand. I've been wanting to come here for literally decades. Now I live here on a boat on a 50-odd foot steel ketch and living the dream, as everyone keeps reminding me.
All right, so you're living on your boat. You're not got any apartments or condos or anything. You're actually full-time on your boat.
We have a small apartment in Rawai that we pay 5,000 baht a month for. Kind of more of a storage thing because we spend about 98% of our time on the boat, either on a mooring in Shillong or wandering around the islands, down to Langkawi, all over the place.
And so what were you doing before you came out to Phuket?
I spent 40 odd years owning and operating advertising agencies and marketing studios, and also doing a lot of strategic planning consulting in Australia for some of the big companies over there. And as I say, did that from when I was about 18, 19 up until maybe 10, 11 years ago when I had a bout with cancer. And within 24 to 48 hours of being diagnosed with malignant metastatic melanoma, which is a mouthful, basically I had a melanoma inside my neck.
Oh, wow.
And within 24 to 48 hours, I upended my life, walked away from a business, a very lucrative business, walked away from an apartment on the Gold Coast in Queensland, Australia, and moved on to the boat that I'd bought about 4 months ago as a project. It certainly wasn't an impeccable boat. It was a pile of shit, if you excuse the language, but yeah, everything just changed. And the single sentence that changed that was when I was sitting with a surgeon specialist 24 hours after I first walked into my GP to have a lump checked out. I had a surgeon telling me, you might want to have an early Christmas, worst case scenario. And I'm like, well, Christmas is only 3 months away. So that statement just changed everything, absolutely everything.
And what's happened since then? You're in remission? You beat the cancer or what?
Yep, beaten the cancer. Did maybe 6 months of treatment. I think about 4 or 5 operations, radiation, the whole 9 yards. They opened up the whole side of my face, which was pretty gross. And then I was invited to participate in a 4-year clinical trial where they were trialling an immunotherapy, which basically bolsters your immune system to fight the cancer cells. But you know, the upside is that if I hadn't been diagnosed with cancer, I probably wouldn't be here right now in Thailand.
So that was your turning point.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt about it. It was a wake up to life is finite. I don't want to drop dead in an office, so I basically just moved straight onto the boat and wandered around in Australia for probably 7 or 8 years, up and down the Queensland coast. Still doing a fair bit of consulting work, working on Hamilton Island in the Whitsundays in their real estate office and in the marina, and just doing bits and pieces. And then I decided I wanted to come to Thailand, as I said before, about 20 years ago. And then I made the decision, I'm going to go to Thailand. So I booked flights, and the flights that I booked were 3 days after the world shut down with COVID. So I didn't quite make it. So COVID came and went, still stayed on the boat in Queensland, moving up and down the coast. And then, as I say, 3.5 years ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go to Thailand now. So I jumped on a plane, came over for a month or so, and then went back to Australia and decided I want to spend a bit of time, you know, half my time in Thailand, half my time in Australia, or thereabouts.
And Phuket specifically?
Yeah, when I first came here, bear in mind there's a big boating background here, right? And I needed and wanted the boating environment. So I spent best part of 3 or 4 weeks here in Phuket, wandering around, checking out marinas and stuff. And then I also went to Koh Samui and spent some time in Koh Samui. But I found that Phuket had more to offer for the boating thing. And so Phuket became the choice.
Okay. And when you arrived here, what was your first impressions against your expectations? Did it?
It's funny, the thing that drove me here, that I was wanting to see, I was always blown away by the dramatic landscape of the islands and the coastlines around Thailand. And that's the thing that kept driving me. Now, the first couple of weeks I spent in Phuket. The expectation, oh, this is going to be a nice, beautiful tourist resort. I got here and it's kind of like chaos on steroids, with the traffic and the people, and Phuket's very intense. I did a bunch of boat trips out to PP, the commercial things, just to get a feel for what was out there. And it didn't take long for me to realise, yeah, I can make this work. I don't need or want to be living in a city-like environment, which is what a lot of Phuket is. So I decided at that point, I want to sell my boat in Australia, buy another boat here, and build my life around boating. And after a couple of months of kicking tyres on boats here, trying to sell my boat in Australia, I thought, well, I'm better off with the devil I know. So I gave up on buying a boat here, jumped on a plane, went back to Australia, and spent best part of 4.5 months sailing my boat from Australia back to Thailand.
What was after you settled in, or during the settling in period, what was your biggest surprise or challenge?
Oh, biggest surprise, people are just wonderful. The Thai people are just absolutely wonderful. Love them all. They're all so friendly. I don't think I've ever heard a Thai person complain about anything. Biggest challenge was just adjusting to, I guess, the language barrier. The cost of living, as everybody knows, is really quite inexpensive. I have a boat though, that sort of blows that whole theory right out of the water. But the biggest surprise was how wonderful the people were. When I did eventually get out onto the water, I found that all those dramatic landscapes I'd been pining for were far more dramatic than I'd actually ever expected.
Phang Nga Bay is wonderful.
Oh, there's just so many beautiful things. Like from here, if we go north up into Phang Nga Bay, yeah, the water gets a bit muddy. That's the nature of the beach, but there's some absolutely dramatic landscapes up there. And then south from Phuket, we've got places like Koh Yai Yai, Koh Yai Noi, even down to Koh Lanta and Langkawi, and all the islands in between, where I can stand in the water up to my chin and I can see the hairs on the toe. The water's that clear. It's just beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
So what's your day-to-day reality now? What's an average day for you like?
Oh, geez. As of right now, I've just finished a 2 or 3 week, it's an episode really of replacing the fuel tanks on the boat on a mooring. So we've got guys coming backwards and forwards, and it's been a hectic couple of weeks, particularly the cleaning up. But a general day for us can be doing jobs on the boat, when we need to do washing and all those domestic chores and provision and groceries. We'll jump in the dinghy. We've got a motorbike that we leave right near where we have the boat moored, and then we'll go and do all of our domestic stuff, and we might stay in the apartment for a night or two, and then back on the boat. And every opportunity we get, we just go somewhere. That can even be as close as Koh Lon, which is a 20-minute boat ride, but beautiful white sandy beach, great resort there. Nobody's there. It's as quiet as anything, right under the nose of the entirety of Phuket, and it's just beautiful. And then
so my next question is what has worked and what hasn't. But it sounds to me like what has worked is living on a boat and the freedom it gives you.
Yes.
Is there anything else you would add to that?
The whole lifestyle here is different to what I'm used to, but it's wonderful. I absolutely love the lifestyle of living on a boat. I've been living on this particular boat now for 11 years. And it's been my home. It's the longest relationship I've had with anything. And you hit the nail on the head. It's the freedom thing. That freedom's always been a thing for me. I've got the freedom to stay in the morning. I've got the freedom to go to Langkawi, down to Indonesia. I can go wherever I want, to a degree, on the smell of an oily rag. Being a sailboat, we've got some wind, we're moving. And that's absolutely wonderful. And we've also got access to all the facilities and resources of Phuket, in that sometimes we might want to go to a movie. We've got Songkran happening tomorrow, so we're going to jump on the motorbike and go to Patong and get involved in all the water fights and celebrations over there. And the freedom is the big part of it for me, is that we can get out of the chaos that sometimes is Phuket on the roads in particular, and just get on the boat, and we can hear it all, and we can see it all. We can see the fireworks, the celebrations, all that sort of stuff, and we've got the peace and quiet that I guess I long for. I'm not a city dweller. Haven't lived in a city for decades, so It's a great balance, in my
Okay.
opinion.
So that obviously works very well.
Yes.
What hasn't gone to plan?
Finance is always a tough thing. I came over here like many people with a dream, oh, I'll set up a bar on the beach, or I'll set up a commercial boat thing. And it's like, yeah, that's already been done like 50,000 times, and 48,000 times it's failed. And so financial sustainability, yeah, I've got money in the bank. I can probably live for 10, 15 years if I really skimp and save. But the reality is that getting into business here is so much different to what it is in Australia. I can pick up consulting gigs there and all sorts of roles, but here it's so much different, particularly with consulting stuff, consulting for marketing, operational stuff and those types of things, is the Thais aren't, I don't think they've had the experience that maybe some of the corporations in Australia have had when seeking outsiders' influence and support and guidance. So the making money here and setting up a business, that's all gotten too hard.
Yeah. I mean, my experience was in Singapore, where it was very easy.
Yes.
$600, go and see an accountant, there's your company.
Yeah.
They wanted you to start a business. They made it so easy.
Yes.
Here, not quite the same, but for cultural reasons, which you just have to deal with.
Yeah. And I get getting work that takes away jobs from Thai people is a high priority for the government here, and I understand that, and I support that 100%. I don't want to take any Thai jobs. The other thing is the financial rewards as well, where I might have been earning X dollars in Australia, doing a certain consulting gig or a particular project. I guess the reality here is that I could only be earning a quarter of that or less. The economic balances are way out of sync with what I'm used to. Having said that, the cost of living here is also immensely cheaper. But we have basically a one-bedroom apartment in Rawai that we pay $5,000 a month, 5,000 baht a month for, which is the equivalent of 240 Australian dollars, and it's perfect. Same thing in Australia right now. You'd probably pay $500 a week for, 500 Australian dollars a week for. So the cost of living is far cheaper. Boat associated repairs and maintenance are probably a little bit less than Australia, but certainly not in keeping with the variations in the general cost of living, like going out for a meal, for example. In Australia, I can take 4 people out for a meal, and it might cost us $50 a head. You go out with 4 people here in Thailand, you can have a massive meal, can hardly move out of your chair, and you get change out of $50 for 4 people, including drinks. So, there's trade-offs everywhere.
Okay. So what are the real upsides to living in Phuket?
As chaotic as Phuket can be, I find it peaceful. In the lifestyle that I live, 98% on the boat, excuse me, often finding remote locations and anchorages where there's very few people. It's just peaceful, and it's relaxed. And as I say, the people here, the Thai people, are just wonderful.
Yeah. And the downsides that people don't talk about?
I hate riding my motorbike on the roads here. It scares the bejesus out of me. I've been riding motorbikes since I was about 14, 15. I've got a big fat Harley Davidson in Australia I've had for 22 years, and I used to do 30,000 kilometres a year on that. So I've been riding big bikes for quite a while. I come to Thailand, I bought a 500cc bike, which is a balance between capable of moving around busy streets and also can get up and go on.
Well, you're quite clearly an experienced rider, okay? And it doesn't faze you. But if someone asked you, hey, I'm coming over to spend a month in Phuket,
yes,
and I want to get around. I've seen everybody renting scooters. I had a go on my brothers once. Yeah. Should I rent a scooter? What would you say to them?
I would say if you're going to do that, yes, rent a scooter, but get comfortable with it in areas where there's not an abundance of other traffic. And there's 2 things that I always do on motorbikes. One I only do in Thailand is every time I swing my leg over the motorbike, I remind myself, survive this ride. Every single time. And sometimes if I'm doing a 30, 40-minute run through the centre of Phuket, I'll be reminding myself, survive the ride, survive the ride. And the other thing you've got to do for those people who are coming here to rent a little scooter, assume that everybody's out to kill you. Be super alert. Super alert for kids walking out between cars, super alert for cars cutting in front of you, super alert of other motorbikes scooting past you. Don't make sharp moves, from left to right on the motorbike, because there might be some guy flying past you. I think the Thai people that I see on the motorbikes are great. Yeah, there's a lot of young kids, young Thai kids that are sort of screaming through the traffic. But the ones that frighten me the most are typically the Farangs or the foreigners. Typically younger guys. Maybe I'm generalising here, but sort of in their 30s, maybe 40s. Pair of shorts, thongs, cap on backwards, no shirt, tats everywhere. Look at me, I'm buff on a big ass road bike, just belting through the traffic, and they just don't. I don't care what they do to themselves, but I worry about what the impact they have on others.
Yes, I understand.
It's just, and that's the thing. Probably the only downside that I find of Thailand is, or here in, not Thailand in general. I've ridden this same motorbike up to Chiang Mai and back, and that was fine. But around the heavy traffic areas, it's the foreigners that frighten me more.
Yeah, I think the freedoms here come with consequences that. Yes, you can walk up and rent a scooter and no one's going to question whether you've got a license or you've ever ridden one before. And you can go out and you don't have to bother wearing a helmet if you choose not to. But the consequences of those decisions if you decide to ride without a license and without a helmet is that when it goes wrong, which it does a lot, you are there to face the consequences. The medical bills will go through the roof. No one's going to pay it. You're not insured. The Thai police will be coming after you, especially if you've been involved in an accident where you've damaged someone else's property or car, or worse still, injured somebody. Yeah, that other person's Thai. And I just wish there was more education about this for foreigners coming in and renting scooters. I mean, I don't necessarily believe that. I'd be interested in your thoughts. I mean, I've heard that people saying that the rental company should be responsible for checking whether you've got your valid license and stuff. Where the Thai attitude is, I'll rent you the scooter. What you do with it, and it's up to you. And whether you're qualified to use it, that's not my problem. I'm just going to rent you a scooter. And that's the different cultural difference. Whereas in the West, it would be that the renter, the company renting out, would be legally responsible. I want to see your license. I need to make a copy of it. I need to make sure you're insured, and all the rest of it.
And I have
contract and all the rest of it. And whereas here, doesn't work that way. Yeah. And the upshot is that there is chaos on the roads in certain parts of the island at certain times of day. And
many times we've been out to some of the islands like Koh Lanta and Koh Yao Yai, where we might go there and spend with a view to spending a week there, and we think, okay, we want to get out and see the island, see what's going on. We'll rent a little scooter. Not once has anybody ever asked me for a license. Not once has anyone ever asked me for what's my experience. I have had some of the rental people wanting to hold my passport, and that's a big no. I'm like, no way, that doesn't leave my possession. You're welcome to take as many photos of my passport as you like, but I will not relinquish it, not for anybody or anything. And I guess the big thing that I notice, as someone who's been riding, I don't consider myself to be an exceptional rider, but I have been riding big bikes for a long time. The dead giveaway for scary people for me is the young guys on the big motorbikes. And I've seen too many of them, even just turning right off one of the main roads, putting a foot out with a thong on it. Now, why are they doing that? To me, that's a dead giveaway of someone who is not experienced on a motorbike. I had this yesterday afternoon. We were riding up from Rawai, and I had this guy come flying past me, and I could almost feel the wind on my knuckles on my right hand as he went screaming past. He went 200 metres ahead of me, didn't put an indicator on, just pulled up in the centre line, and then turned right off the road and had his right foot out an inch above the ground. And I'm like, dude, you have no clue what you're doing.
Yeah, but the consequences will be his to deal with when it goes wrong.
When it goes bad. And that's okay, Martin, as long as they're not impacting other people, and especially Thais. I heard we were talking about this a while ago.
I'm torn. I'm torn. I like the anarchy and the freedom, and I also like because I used to be a motorcycle instructor back in the day, trying to impart wisdom to young kids, to try and make them safer on a motorcycle. You know what I mean? And you want to educate them. You must wear a helmet. You must, all the rest of it. And be legal
and learn to fall off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas here is just the opposite chaos, and I'm torn. But anyway, I don't
Yeah.
want to go into that too much. I'm going to ask you the next question then.
Sure.
So, who do you think your lifestyle suits? Type of people, what you're doing, who do you think it suits?
Oh my goodness. People have been given advice that you may only have 3 months to live. Go and live it. You know, that's a big one for me. People who've got, I guess, got a desire for freedom and to get off the treadmill.
Yeah.
I don't know how many millions of people there must be in the world that sit in their offices all day, somewhere in the cities, anywhere in the world, chipping away at a bloody computer thinking, oh, life's got to be better than this. And it took me being diagnosed with cancer and worst case given 3 months to live to go, okay, this has got to change. And it was easier for me being diagnosed with cancer and being told that than I guess it is for someone who's in their comfort zone. They've got their mortgage, the kids are in school, and they've got their job and the car and all that crap. It's more difficult to break away from that. And you often see on social media there's something to the effect, and I'm paraphrasing here, it's like people worry about their mortgages and their kids and their living expenses and all that stuff until there's a health concern.
Yes.
And then nothing else
Everything
matters.
goes out the window when your health becomes a problem. I mean, I know, but with your lifestyle, which is very free and nomadic, you are in a relationship, but more or less just a couple.
Yes.
You haven't got children to worry about, young kids and stuff. So anyone, with young children, perhaps your lifestyle might be more of a challenge, but I'm not saying it's not possible. But where it does suit is the adventurous, unattached.
Yeah, people who have a desire for a sense of freedom and to reconnect with nature. I'm not a greenie by any means, but I support experiencing these things. They're just beautiful, And for me, I've got 5 kids. They're all grown up doing their own thing. In Australia, I miss them all every day, and I try and see whichever ones I can whenever I'm back there. But this lifestyle for me, it can be also a family thing. I meet a lot of people on boats all over the world. I've sailed all around Australia, here in Thailand, Tahiti, Croatia, Greece, somewhere else I can't remember. But I'm always meeting people on boats, and I meet a lot of families. And the one thing that I'll say about seeing families living on boats and travelling the world is they typically have adorable kids who are grounded, who can have a conversation, even a 10-year-old. And I find that to be a very cool thing to see in a family environment. And you live on a boat with your wife and your young son, and he's a delightful young man. And it's no different when you see people who are actually travelling and cruising all over the world. It's something for people who just want something else. If they've got a passive income,
open-minded and adventurous, good fit. Anybody?
Soft adventure though. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like bungee jumping or climbing
I understand.
cliff faces and stuff. Yeah.
All right. Excellent. So, what's next? What do you see yourself doing next year, 5 years' time?
Oh God, that's a big question.
Yeah.
At the moment, Thailand and Indonesia are probably on the water. There's probably places I want to explore more. Then I'd like to also explore Vietnam and more of northern Thailand on land.
Would that be truly nomadic, or are you still using Phuket as a base?
Phuket probably still is the base.
Yeah.
We've got the apartment here. If we're on land, yes, I've got to have
your partner, where is she from?
She's Thai.
Yeah, but
she's from northern Thailand.
But not this area. Okay.
Yeah. She'd kill me, but I can't remember the exact name of the town that she was born in. But typically up around in Nan, up in the north. So, and we've been up there a few times, and it's beautiful. I love it up there. Too far from the ocean for me to call it home, I think. But
so do you got to continue exploring, sailing, and
pretty much more of the same.
Yeah,
pretty much more of the same. And eventually, we'd like to get to a point where we can spend half our year here in Thailand and half in Australia.
Yeah,
not 6 months, but probably three, just backwards and forwards, and exploring a bit of Australia as well.
Okay.
While I still can.
Yeah,
that's the name of the game, and it's a pretty exciting opportunity.
Well, you understand what I'm trying to do with this channel. Is there anything you can think of or you want to add that people think they should know?
Say if people are talking about wanting to come to Thailand and particularly Phuket or anywhere in Thailand for that matter, don't ask on social media. Don't put well, what's it like living in Thailand? Get off your ass, get on a plane, come over and spend a month or two and visit a couple of places, not 5 days here and 5 days there in the tourist channel. Just come over with a backpack or a bloody suitcase and rent a car or a motorbike and spend time and get to know the different areas, because often I find people that will fly straight into Phuket and hang out in Patong or Qatar or Nai Han, which is beautiful. They're not really experiencing Thailand. They'll come and say...
They're not even really experiencing Phuket, in my opinion. I mean, many people don't leave Laguna. The people who live over there, that's where they eat, they drink, they sleep, they swim, all in that area.
It's a bubble.
Exactly. Whereas 40 minutes drive, you're up in Phang Na. The roads are empty. The scenery is absolutely stunning. You keep going a bit further, you've got Krabi and all around there. Yeah. And that's just a tiny little portion of exactly. So I agree with you.
But I've done it in my days in the advertising industry. I used to do a lot of tourism or property. And with tourism, that got me the opportunity to travel a lot. And when I was a lot younger, we looked after a couple of major airlines and I got free tickets all over the joint. But I found that when I would go on a bus tour or I'm not really experiencing anything. They're stopping in, here's 20 minutes of this beautiful tourist attraction. Get on the bus, we're going to the next place now. And I found that if I want to go travelling overseas, a month is the minimum.
Yes.
Has to be a month. And if it's a tourist centre, I don't want to be there. I went sailing in Croatia once and flew into Athens and spent a couple of weeks wandering around there with a few friends, and that was wonderful. We then thought, let's stop into Dubrovnik. We were going to spend 2 or 3 days in Dubrovnik, and we did catch a bus from Athens to Dubrovnik, and we got off the bus and started wandering around. It's like everywhere there's Australians. And we all looked at, there's 4 or 5 of us by this stage travelling together towards Croatia. Let's get out of here. This is crazy. Too many bloody Aussies. So we went and spent some time in Split and then out on the islands around Croatia. It was just beautiful.
But then you found the true spirit of the place.
The culture. And the funny thing is that often good things can come from bad experiences. At this particular trip in Croatia, I know we're getting away from Phuket, but we had a 50-odd foot charter boat early one morning. We woke up and there's a few rain clouds around, looking like a pretty good day. And then all of a sudden we start hearing these lightning strikes all over, and the boat got struck by lightning. Lucky had the engine going, but every single electrical device on the boat was fried. The engine is a diesel, so it doesn't require electricity to run. My phone was in my hand. A couple of people had their phones plugged into the power, and they were fried. I rang the base and said, where do we go? And the guy sort of said, look, it was a weekend, I'm at my father's place. He gave us directions back towards Split, turn right into this bay, down the little inlet, and stern to, tie up the stern and pick up the buoy, and I'll be right there. And we made it around this corner, not knowing where we were going, and we just made it into a postcode.
Yeah. And
it was true, absolutely true Croatia. All these buildings on the side of the hill that most, I believe, had been handmade, and by the parents and grandparents, and it was just stunning.
And you wouldn't have found that if you'd have gone normal routes.
If we didn't get struck by lightning, we wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
If I didn't get diagnosed with potentially, worst case, terminal cancer, I wouldn't be in Thailand.
Yeah.
And so sometimes, the signs come in strange and different ways, but grab the opportunity and go for it.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be saying. And as far as coming to Phuket, I would highly stress to people, if you think about it and you're wanting to come here, don't ask on social media. You're going to get a million responses that aren't really relevant. Come here yourself, spend a month or so, spend some time in these different places, get to know the people that are here, and make your own mind up.
Yeah, great.
And see if it suits you. Simple as that.
Okay.
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, excellent. All right, but so what's your personal situation then? Staying here long term, what do you do about visas, bank accounts? Your boat probably needs some documentation. Yep. How does that all work?
When I first came here 3.5 years ago, I lose track of days, so 3.5 years ago is rough enough. I came here on a tourist visa, and after spending a month or so here, I thought, I think I want to come back here longer. I went and hunted around for a number of agents, immigration agents, to find one that sounded legit and that I could communicate well with. And I went down the path of a retirement visa. That initial retirement visa, I had an agent set up for me.
I see.
I've never been good with government paperwork, ever. And so the agent set up the visa for me. Part of that was having to have 800,000 baht, or about 35 grand Australian or thereabouts, in a Thai bank account to basically prove that you're financially independent.
Mm-hmm.
So the agent did the visa. I went one day to Bangkok Bank to open an account. 45 minutes down the track, nothing was happening. I rang the agent. She said, just a minute. Came over, had a 2-minute conversation with the bank staff. 5 minutes later, I had a Thai bank account. I have a card. I use the ATM, swipe it everywhere. So that's my retirement visa. The first renewal year, the retirement visa gives you 12 months, can't work, and a multi-entry addition to that. So at the end of the first year, we had to renew. I had the agent do the renewal for me, and that was quite expensive because I'd cocked up at one point, and I think my bank balance somewhere in the year was maybe 10 baht under the 800,000.
Okay, so it's your experience that you have to have 800,000 baht in your bank account the whole time.
Correct. So we managed to, the agent overcame that. I'm not even sure how, but I've done my damnedest to maintain that 800,000. Yes, I hear stories about people who don't have it and blah, blah, blah. I'm just interested in what's comfortable for me, which is 800,000 baht minimum in an account for the entirety of the visa, of the retirement visa period. Also have to do 90-day reporting, basically to say, okay, I'm still at this address. For me, I live on a boat, but the blue boat out on the mooring there is not a sufficient address for the Thai immigration. So we have an apartment at Rawai. That's my official address. So I go in every 90 days. Yes, we're still there. 3 minutes, job done, out I go. As far as the boat is concerned, that's a slightly different scenario in that it's more of a customs issue.
Yes.
So when we come in, we do what we call a check-in.
Yeah.
As the crew and passengers on the boat, we're doing just the same as you do when you fly into the country, doing all the stamping and the passport and that sort of nonsense. But with the boat, we have to do a customs declaration, and that basically gives the boat 6 months permission to stay in Thailand. And then at the end of the 6 months, or sorry, in the week prior to the end of the 6 months, we go back in and renew. We get an extension for another 6 months.
You can do that up to 2.5 years, I think. Is that correct?
Yeah. So you get your first 6 months, then you can do another 4 extensions after that. So every 2.5 years after the extensions, assuming everything's fine, you have to take the boat out of the country.
Yeah.
And then come back in. And we think, what the hell?
We made that mistake. We let it go to the 2.5 years, and then had to go down to Langkawi.
Yes.
And that forced us to go down in September.
Yes.
And we got caught in some really
Nasty
bad weather. Yeah, I did not enjoy that. It was one of the most scariest times on the boat. Again, because we left it too late. It was interesting.
It's one of the biggest challenges. Probably the single biggest challenge I have in my day-to-day life is, what day is it?
Yeah.
And when do I need to do the 90 days?
It's a good problem to have.
Next month or 3 months? Or I don't know. And then the boat, and we've got all the apps and all the crap on the phone that we can do these things in, but do I put it in there? No, I have to keep lying awake at night thinking, is that...
Did you ever consider like a different type of visa to allow you to work? Because obviously you with your background consulting and the amount of knowledge you've got, is still very valuable and relevant, but technically, is that an issue?
It's a return on investment thing too, is it? And it's also partly, from my understanding, interpretation, a little bit of horse before the cart thing. Do I find a gig to do some consulting work for somebody and then get the work experience, the work permit? And I think, I'm not 100% certain, I think I have to put that application in outside the country.
Yes.
I'm not 100% certain, but do I set up a business? Which way do I go? But then I consider the return on the investment of the time and all the mucking around. I'm sometimes better off going back to Australia, hustling for some consulting work back there, and
yes, I
for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and also it kind of gets in the way of the plan, which is to spend your time sailing around the beautiful islands and exploring.
While I'm still alive.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
I just wondered.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a, the seriously not knowing what day it is probably one of our biggest problems on the boat,
Yeah.
and that's good and bad in many ways. It's it's when we've got certain dates and appointments and things that it becomes a bit of a problem. But we often find ourselves in anchorages and think, oh, we'll just spend a couple of days here, and then days pass. It's like, how long have we been here? We've been here 5 days or 10. I don't really remember what day it is, and that is a pretty cool thing to have.
Sounds excellent.
Yeah. So
Okay.
so different there's different visas for different people, but like anything, you've got to talk to the right end of the horse. There's scammy little people around doing visas that are all different, and I don't know. I just have the sense that if the higher the likelihood of putting money into a brown paper bag and to get a visa, the higher the likelihood, I believe, of something coming unstuck somewhere.
Yeah, I wanted certainty. That's why we went for a decent agent to help us get it nailed down.
Yeah.
Because if it was just me, I'd probably a bit more take a bit of a risk.
Yeah.
What's the it might end up in the back of a van and down to the airport, down to Singapore if it all went wrong.
Yeah,
if you've got property, like we have boats, it's not nailed down, but still property and family and children and stuff. Yeah, I wanted to do it as
cross the T's, dot your I's, do it right. And I guess it's just respecting the system too. My dad once said to me once, and this is sort of akin with the brown paper bagging of visas. He said to me once, he said, it's a lot easier to tell the truth than it is to lie, because you've got to remember all the lies. And in terms of getting visas and stuff, I want no opportunity for the Thai government to say, it's time to leave.
Well, Boyd, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Been a pleasure.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you would like to see more conversations about Phuket and similar topics, please do subscribe to the channel. It will help us grow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.